Hello everyone, greetings from London. It's been a while since I do an update here on the channel describing the work I've been doing on the hobby. And today I'm going to introduce my next project, which, as I mentioned already, is going to be about World War II. I am currently preparing 3 armies, Americans, British and Germans, to run mostly fireable forward. Quite a nice set of rules. I've watched some battle reports and it spiked my interest, so I think I'm going to be playing a lot of it. And because I was tired of painting little men and horses, and because World War II, of course, means tanks, I decided to actually start with armor. And that's what I'm going to take you through today. So I am still finishing some of the Napoleonics. I'm still finishing my Bavarians. Once those are done, I'll show you guys all of them. But in the meantime, I figured, okay, let's start looking to the future. Let's start looking to the next project. So for Americans, the Americans, I got these 3 Shermans, all of these from Pendraken. Quite happy with the Shermans. I'll get one of them I don't like, but I'll get to that one later. As you can see, I put a commander on one of them, thinking of at some point trying to come up with some troop system where you have a commander, but I'm still thinking of how to do it. As far as I know, it does not exist in Fireball Forward. I'll have to come up with something. Also, those of you who know something about tanks more than me, which is not hard, have probably noticed that I glued the commander on the wrong side. So yes, there are 2 hatches. This is the commander's hatch. This is the loader's hatch. So this guy shouldn't be glued here. He should be glued there. Now, I only realized this afterwards, and honestly, one of my biggest struggles is actually finding someone to play. If I ever find someone to play that actually can spot that this guy is glued on the wrong place, then clearly I have reasons to rejoice already. Coming up next, Nem-10, this tank destroyer. I've always liked this. I don't know if any of you guys played Company of Heroes back in the day, 2006 maybe. Gosh, yeah, a long time ago. And I really like the M10 on that game. And it's one of my favorite armored vehicles from World War II. And I was like, okay, that one's got to go in. 2 Willies, because if you're doing Americans in World War II, you gotta have some Willies, of course. And they look cool. Nothing to write home about. They look nice. And last but not least, oh, actually, let me get this out of the way. I also got this Deuce and a Half, this truck. I got a truck for each of the factions. I also got an Opel Blitz for the Germans and another truck for the British. This Deuce and a Half, I quite like the cast, and as you can see, it actually has an open back. Looks good. No complaints here. And this is the only one that I'm not so keen on. The Stuart tank, these are of course the late war variant, but somehow it doesn't look like what I was expecting it to look like. I kind of feel like it is too long. I would have expected it to be shorter. I also don't understand why the tracks protrude so far forward. I would expect them to be a little bit backwards. So all in all, this Stuart, I have to admit, I'm not so happy with. Other than that, great figures, great casts as always. Now, let's talk about the British. So for the British, I gotta start with this one because this guy's a beauty. There we go. Good old-fashioned Churchill tank. Can't go wrong. An amazing cast, lots of detail, lots of character to it. I'm quite happy with it. So that made me happy and made me forget about the Stuart. We got a Daimler because I'm thinking of running games where there is an officer in here. A little Daimler vehicle. And then I got 3 Shermans, which, as you will be able to tell, are different from the American Shermans. So I did a bit of a quick research online, and I discovered that the most common Sherman tank in Normandy was the one with a cast hull, whereas the most common Sherman amongst British troops was the one with a straight hull, as you can see here. I believe it was welded, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, and this is actually good because this also means that on the table they are easy to spot, so it's easy to tell the difference between the two of them. I'm not a huge fan of this German model. I mean, they're both German models, but you get what I mean. But it's kind of grown on me, actually. I've always preferred the one with the straight hull, with a flat hull on top, but now I'm actually growing fond of this. So I've learned to love them, if you want to put it that way. I got two Shermans. There we go. These are the 75 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. I wrote it down, but I don't have the notes with me. If I am wrong, I'm sure people will tell me I'm wrong in the comment section. And of course, a Firefly, because these being the British and Shermans, you gotta have a Firefly. Nice little truck for some scenarios involving ammo or fuel or troop transport or whatever, and a Cromwell, which I quite like as well. I really like the Cromwell. I had a nice Cromwell back in the day by Warlord, a bolt action Cromwell, but I sold it when I sold all of my bolt action collection, and I actually think that Cromwell didn't even see action. I don't think it ever got to play. I mean, I think it happens to all of us, and we all have stories of minis we painted and were quite fond of, and they never even get to fire a shot. Cool, so that leaves the Germans for last. And here they come. So for the Germans, because, I mean, German armor being German armor, I actually went for a bit more of variety. Beginning with the half tracks, so 2 half tracks. There you go. I quite like half tracks, and I quite like the whole legend / reputation around half tracks in the German army in World War II, and all the movie scenes with them. So I was quite keen on including this. And I then went for a Puma. Fun fact, the Puma was the very first model I ever built, a Revel model back in early 2000s, which I think it still exists. It's somewhere at my parents' place. One day I will dig it up. And I'm quite happy with the casts. All of the German vehicles, I'm gonna paint them in Normandy camo. So if you're familiar with, is the one with that weird German yellow. Dunkelwelp, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, if not the word itself. Again, if I have any German viewer, please tell me how badly I butchered it. With some stripes, green and brown stripes. Coming up next, Stug. I quite like these 2 casts, and I actually bought the one with the skirts. I think it looks pretty nice. Slapped the commander on it as well. I quite like the way it turned out. So this was one of the additional ones that I decided to get. Then, actually, sorry, this is not the Stug. What am I doing? This is the Stug. They both had the skirts, and I picked up the wrong one. Here's the Stug for you. There you go. Self-propelled artillery piece. I really like the cast. I got this version with the skirts. I was quite happy with it, and I did slap a commander on it. And yes, for the German tanks, I was actually smart enough to glue the figures on the right place. Cool. Then a squadron of Panzer IVs. Now, yes, calling them by their real names. Apologies for the snafu. Here they are again with the commander. So as you can see, I went for the same structure for all 3 armies. 3 main battle tanks, one of them with a commander, and then an assortment of other vehicles that I found interesting. Moving up the chain, as you probably already realize I'm trying to do, we get to the Panther, I couldn't help it. Again, this is probably more firepower than I'm gonna play with, at least in the beginning, especially because I'm thinking of starting with some smaller scale games, but I mean, it looked nice. I'm not a huge fan of German armor. I mean, it looks good and all, but I actually think the Allied tanks look better, or maybe it's just my opinion being a bit swerved by obvious reasons. But I kind of think I've always liked the look of a good Sherman or the Cromwell or the M10. And last but not least, because I watched, like all of us here, I watched too many movies, and Hollywood made me think that there was a tiger in literally every street in World War II, when it was very much the opposite. I had to get a tiger. So here's the tiger. I did not buy the King Tiger because, let's face it, there's only so much there's only so much foolery you can pick up with. Put up with, sorry. I like their tanks. I like the Pendragon has this line. They are 10 mil tanks, and I quite like them. I'm curious to see how they will look like. By the way, here I have a question to the audience: should I or should I not base my tanks? And if you do base your tanks, why do you base your tanks? I had already bought another Sherman that I didn't show you today, that I tried basing, and then I actually ended up removing the base because I wasn't too happy with it. But let me know your thoughts. And the last vehicle is an Opel Blitz, which, if you'd ask me, looks pretty cute, almost like a little toy from the 50s or something. I think it looks pretty cool. I quite like it. So yeah, this is actually, maybe I can give you a bit of an overview. There you go, or maybe not. Okay, so this is the armored section for my upcoming project. As always, I will keep you guys updated. I'll try to post one video every week to let you know how this is going. My plan is to actually start the infantry in parallel at some point, but definitely first things will be these guys. Prime them, spray paint them green for the Allies, and the funny yellow for the Germans, and taking it from there. Okay. For those of you more Napoleonic oriented, don't worry. There is a video on an update on the end of my Napoleonic project that has now been going for 2 years. There is a video on that coming soon. Cheers, guys. Bye bye.